So now I'm going to attempt to put a organic looking cord onto the end of the torch. So to begin with, we'll create a little hole on the right plane, and let's say the cord is going to be 4 mm in diameter, so we'll place a 4 mm diameter hole there somewhere convenient, and we'll just apply an extruded cut mid plane and make sure it just makes its way out. So our cord is going to fit through that hole, and let's just put a 1 mm fillet on either side. It makes it look just that little bit neater. Okay, so this is obviously going to be a very good start point, so let's put a reference geometry and axis into that hole, and let's put a plane at a slight angle, let's say 30 degrees. So reference geometry, plane, I've already selected the axis, and let's select, say, the top plane to be my other reference, and we'll select this angle, and let's try 150 to see how it looks. And it looks pretty good. So 150 puts in a plane at 30 degrees. So the first bit of the cord is going to be draped on this plane. So to do that, I'll create a sketch on that plane and I'll look 90 degrees to it. Sometimes that happens, so just look at 90 degrees to it again. And I'm going to do the following. I'm going to draw a line halfway through the hole, just creeping out there. And then I'll switch over to a spline, and I'll try to get the spline coming around in almost like this heart shape. I'll select that, and I'll put a center line down the middle. Now I'm not wasting time dimensioning this. I should dimension it, but it would really lengthen the videos. So just for instance, to dimension this spine, or to fix the spine, I can just click it and press fix. But I'm not done editing it yet. So I just want to mirror that line and that spline about that line, and in fact I'll tweak it before I mirror it. What I want to do is make sure by holding control that this line and this curve are a tangent, so that will get a nice smooth transition for my spline. And also down at the very bottom here, I'm going to click the spline, and I should get this little diamond which will allow me to set the angle. In this case it's going to be 90 or minus 90, just to make sure it's vertical. So now I can do my mirror. I can mirror this little bit of a line and that spline about this center line that I added, and press OK on that. So that's going to be the path for the bit of the cord, and you can edit it as you see fit, but I'm hoping that will look okay. So let's approve that. So to draw a circle, I'm going to hide this plane. In fact, I won't for a moment. To draw a circle, I need a plane at 90 degrees to this new plane I've created. So in fact, I'm going to open up that sketch again and just put a center line between there and there, which will give me an axis of revolution for my new plane. So features, reference geometry, plane, select that newly created center line and select this plane, and make sure they go on at 90 degrees. So let's just put on an angle of 90 degrees. Sorry, I messed up there. I'll try that again. Reference geometry, plane, axis, plane, and 90. There we go. So just for clarity, I'm going to hide this other plane, and on this plane, just so we don't make the mistake, I'm going to draw a circle centered there, and we'll dimension that to be diameter 4. So we can sweep that. So let's go features, swept boss base, there's the profile, there's the path, and let's just go into options and don't merge the result. Right, so that's the first bit. Let's just tidy up the sketch a bit. So we'll hide the axis and we'll hide that plane. And now, in fact, I'll bring plane 9 back into visibility. If I can do it there. I can't do it there. There we go. So on this plane, I'm going to continue that little chord. So let's make a little connector here. And what I mean by that is this. On plane 9, I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start at the center, go up a little bit, come across, and just make, again, almost like a little heart shape. And I'll join those with a center line just because I want to mirror them. You can mess around with dimensions yourself. Now I'll mirror those few entities about this line. Press OK. And I will do a mid-plane extrusion. So features, extruded boss base, mid-plane, and let's bring that to a thickness of 6. So now we almost have a little a draw chord there. And I suppose I probably should have not merged that result. So let's not merge that result. And we can just put a tiny fillet on that. Let's see how a 1mm fillet looks. It's a little strong. Let's change it to 0.5. And let's change the back to 0.5 as well. And we'll just take this corner and that corner off it as well. And now we're getting there. So I'm going to hide this plane, but on this tail end I'm going to put 2 circles where I want the, in fact I'll select the plane first. I'm going to put 2 circles where I want the chords to enter and exit. So I'm just going to have to be careful and put 1 circle here. We'll dimension it to be 4. And we just have to be careful to tell this point and that point to be horizontal. And let's just smart dimension that from the edge at 2.5. Now I'm going to close that sketch because I want that sketch to be my profile when I sweep it in a minute. And I'm going to create a second sketch on the same surface, the same size and the same offset. That was 2.5 actually. There we go. So now, to get a 3D spline, what I'm going to do is this. On the right plane, I'm going to create a center line for my axis of revolution, and from that I'm going to make a spline. Now you can experiment around with this spline and you'll get varied results, but if I revolve that around, there is a separate body, a separate solid along which I can drape my chord. So I'm going to go to Sketch, select a 3D sketch this time, and a spline on surface. I'm not going to attempt to start it here. I'm going to just start it up here. And make your way around. It will drape that chord over that surface for you. We'll select that. Now we can drag the points around to make sure we're happy with them. I'll undo that. I drag the wrong point around, so we'll drag the point up like that. And it's quite demanding on the computer, so my computer is freezing there. So we'll just try that one more time. Okay, I'll drag that around to the top. Okay, it's not ideal, so I'm just going to do a bit of massaging on that. In fact, I'm just going to delete that and pop them in again. It'd be good practice. So spline on surface, and we'll try again. Pick a point there. And that looks much better this time. Now, to finish off the spline from there to there, I'm not going to use a spline on surface. I'm still in a 3D sketch, so I'm going to call up a regular spline. And from the center of that circle to the spline there will be one spline. And I can click and drag that. And I can set this line and that line to be a tangent. And finally, I can add one more spline from the center of this circle to the end of that spline. And let's just rotate that around a little first and hold control and select this spline and that spline and tell those to be a tangent. Now that's why I needed the two circles there. The first circle is going to be my profile, the second circle or a point indeed, just help me finish this sweep where I needed it to be. So let's hide that body. And now if we do a features and a swept boss base, we can sweep that circle along that profile and we will not merge the result. And now we have not a bad looking chord at all. And of course, if you go in and edit them and spend a bit more time getting these splines a little bit better, you'll get a much more natural and organic